why I appointed Nigeria's army chief bypassed his seniors. Farouk Yahaya was appointed as Nigeria's army chief ahead of dozens of his superiors because he has experience fighting Boko Haram in the northeast, President Buhari said. Mr. Yahaya was recently appointed Chief of Army Staff following the death of Ibrahim Atahiru, former Chief of Army Staff, in a plane crash. Premier Times reported how Mr. Buhari bypassed at least 29 senior officers to Mr. Yahaya in appointing the army chief. The senior officers are now to be forced out of the army. Okay. In an interview with Arise TV aired on Thursday and monitored by Premium Times, Mr. Buhari said Yahaya was appointed because he was then heading Nigerians' war against Boko Haram in the northeast and had the support and understanding of the troops. More details later. All right. Okay, so, I mean, to be honest, I don't think you had to make the other 29 senior officers redundant. I mean, okay, fine, they were not chosen, but then you now sack all of them? Yeah. With what justification? With what justification? That's what you need to ask. With what justification? That's it. Do we really listen to what this man says anymore? Please. Somebody says, Mr. President, you don't owe anybody an explanation for his appointment. Keep deceiving yourself. All right. Someone says, announcement, fight in the Sambisa is opportunities for you to become a chief of army staff. If you want to become a chief of army staff, don't stay in office. All right. You see, the only one that has experience to fight Boko Haram, Mr. President, I think your reason you appointed him is that you don't want Nigerians to know. That could be the case, but then again, it's just like your reason is that, well, there's literally no reason you bypass 29 senior officers that are ahead of your highest position, and you're telling me that those senior officers do not have experience in fighting Boko Haram at least once. It's just a bit shady and suspicious. And again, for what reason would you now make them redundant? I mean, fine, you might not appoint them, but then, so they're now useless, they can't work for the army again? Very, very, very suspicious. Someone says, nepotism runs in your blood, sir. You're even being respectful by adding the sir. Does it respect you back? But yeah, nepotism was very much clear. Someone says, story for the gods, you are tribalistic, period. Exactly. I mean, it's not far-fetched. He's been consistent in putting close-knit people around his circle in, positions of power in which, yes, he has the power to do so, but are they deserving of those positions? That is the real question. Someone says, so he has defeated Boko Haram, and that is why he has appointed COAS ahead of his senior. The whole citizens are not blindfolded by Buhari's statements, since he's known for fabrication of lies with cabinet members. Someone says, sir, you are a liar. I mean, to be honest, I love how in some cases disrespectful or contrary these opinions are, and people still manage to put the sand. That is strong. It's definitely not like a majority of the comments here, but that is what it is. I mean, to be honest, there is literally no excuse. There is literally why would you not make them redundant? And it's too quick for the fact that even your former COAS, you did not even attend his funeral or the memorial service. So again, it's a bit suspicious. It really is. Actually, it wasn't just 29. It was at least 29 senior officers that were skipped and were bypassed. And you are telling me that those do not have a sufficient experience, and then all of a sudden they're fired? I mean, if we actually had proper labor laws in this country, they should be able to sue the government. And then again, that is a big oof. Who even sues the government at this point in the world, be it a developing or a developed country? Someone says, the reason for appointing Yahaya as COAS is not acceptable. Doesn't mean that a junior is more experienced than 29 senior officers. Again, this is the army, okay? You don't get to senior positions as if it's beans. You work for that. They're telling, please. By this singular act, Mr. President has called all by the past senior officers quack, inefficient, incapable, and whatever negative assessment term that can be used to disqualify them. Is that true? I don't think so. I think a hire has to be appointed to force about 29 of his students out of job just for him to continue where Atahiru stopped. Absolutely not far-fetched. Like, I guess the military, again, it's like if there's any profession that is like big on your accolades and like your well, I don't know the military term for it, but let's say your CV in the military, like what have you done? These people are big on it. So you're telling me that you more than 29 senior officers were capable and you just chose them not. For what reason you chose your hire, it doesn't seem special. It does not seem unique that, okay, fine, this being an anomaly, we would allow, or this is not it at all. Somebody says, true, I watched soldiers jubilating in Maiduguri when it was announced as COAS. That, I mean, I guess that is true, because at the end of the article, it did say that the troops were happy with him being, in power. So I guess that is a positive thing. But still, when it comes to skill and experience and all that, you're telling me that there are other people who don't have it, but then those ones are in senior positions, but you just bypass them. That is insulting. Somebody says, stupid bypass, you have weakened the morale of the other senior military heads. Absolutely. Again, I think we need to emphasize, I'm not in the army, I'm not in the military, but I can say for sure that you don't get to senior positions by doing basic things. I mean, again, it would be unfair to the good eggs that are actually in the military force to just assume that all of them are bad or all of them got there through nepotism. Again, getting there through nepotism is not obviously a ruled out circumstance. It is very much prevalent. However, if there are 29 senior officers who, by their ranking and their experience, are more than capable, you're telling me that he's the only one out of all the senior officers, he's the only one who has sufficient experience in dealing with Boko Haram. I mean, come on now. Come on. Somebody says, politics everywhere. So if a captain in the army leads troop and have support of his unit, then he could be made chief of army staff, and every other senior officers get retirement. Check the mindset and the thought process. I mean, sometimes you question what was the actual reason? Like, what was the chain of reasoning? It doesn't make sense. But I think, and don't forget, I can subscribe.